I'm screaming more fire, more fire. Give them more fire, more fire. I just gotta pray for more fire, more fire. I'm hoping he come with more fire, more fire.
Alright, Shalom Israel, Shalom. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai Barakatam to all the brothers. Yahweh Shema Alatham Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai to the sisters. You know what I'm saying? This is Real Time Revelations, the show hosted by myself, Officer Raawban in the I.S.U.P.K, United Kingdom. You know what I'm saying? I want to do a quick sound check to see if I'm being heard to Wab. You know what I'm saying? If anybody is watching online and y'all can hear me clearly, just put a 1 in the chat. Put the number 1 in the chat. I want to make sure it seems as though my audio is coming through okay. But I want to make sure. I got a little bit of a new setup, you know what I'm saying? That's why I was a little behind on the time. And folks, I'm putting together my new setup, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully it'll make a better live experience for anybody watching. You know what I'm saying? I want this to be the best it can be, you know what I'm saying? So let me know if there's any issues as we go along. You know what I'm saying? As with any new thing, as with any new setup, there's always, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of growing pains. You know what I'm saying? So if there's anything that you guys come across that, you know, you think is having an effect on the quality of the live, do let me know. Alright, before we begin, also let me check. Matter of fact, hold on. Y'all give me 1 second. Let me do this for just a second. I just want to quickly check on my screen what the live is looking like. Hold on. Before we carry on. Let me do this. Let's turn my volume down. Okay, I see it's live. How are we looking? Move a little bit, move around the camera. Okay, I got my little bit of a new camera set up, so I'm trying to see if it's smooth. Okay, it does chop a little bit. Hold on, no sound. Okay, the water for Rebecca Boop. I appreciate it. I didn't realize I was on mute, so I appreciate you letting me know. I appreciate it. There we go. We got some sound going. All right, so let me run it back. So today's, episode is regarding, the Epstein aftermath. Right, so the aftermath of the Department of Justice, or the Department of so-called Justice, have released what they're basically is saying is going to be the final, part, or the final bits of information that they're going to release regarding the Epstein files. Right, so then they're not releasing anything else, and this whole thing, as we all know, involves so many men and women in such high places that are doing things that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. Just unspeakable things to children, to infants, to babies. I mean, this thing goes like seriously deep, right? There's all manner of people involved and all manner of people that need to be investigated, arrested, and thrown under the jail. But as we've seen in the aftermath of these files being released, absolutely nothing is being done about these people. Because when it comes to justice and people in high places, people who have power, people who rule this earth, which, if you don't know, some of the biggest people in power today, I mean, who runs the earth if not, the so-called oppressor, if not America and Britain and these Europeans that have went around conquering and enslaving and colonizing countries, and throughout the whole world, their influence, their Western influence has become damn near the way people operate. The way people move, the things people do and celebrate, the values people hold, has become very heavily influenced by the man, or the nation that really rules this earth. And this is not a nation that has any moral code. They claim to be a Christian nations, but there is nothing Christ-like about this people. This people go about pillaging, unaliving, assaulting, like you see in these Epstein files, doing all manner of vile things to everybody on the face of this earth. To just absolutely everybody. Right? And I got a few videos just about, these files that are so say released. Even these files, I mean, there is so much about the files that there was over it was like 300 million files or something like that. 300 million, pieces of evidence for the department. That's why it took so long, apparently. There's just so much evidence for them to comb through, find out, investigate, this, that, and the third. But they did none of that. It's just so much that they had to go through, see what they can, see what they can get away with hiding, and see what they can't get away with hiding. Like, we know for a fact certain people were involved. So we have to release something that shows they're implicated in this thing. But, I mean, it goes far deeper than they are releasing. And even what they have released is enough to get some of these people like Donald Trump, the president of America right now, is more than enough to get him impeached, arrested, and thrown under the jail. But nothing is going to happen. Absolutely nothing is going to happen, because America, that claims to care about justice, has never cared about justice. Britain, who claims to care about justice, has never once cared about actual justice. I mean, receiving justice and receiving punishment is something that poor people go through. It's something that black people and poor people have to go through. Because whether you're black or rich, you're still going to face the music. But those rich oppressors, those rich Europeans that are in power, they never seem to face the music. Or even if they do get arrested, like there's no way you can spin it and hide it to, hide their deeds. Even if you get thrown in prison, like there's a woman right now who was convicted of doing unspeakable things to children. There's a woman, and she is in the most you know, it's like a I forget if they said high security or low security, but it's a luxury prison. She is in this woman that assaulted children, that you would think universally is one of, we could all agree, is one of the most heinous crimes you could commit. Like even if you know you think there's a reason to unalive somebody, there's a reason to steal, there's a reason to do this, there's a reason to do that. I think we can all agree that there is, you know, I think we all should be on the same page. You'd hope that doing these things to children is diabolical. You'd think that that's you know, whatever culture, whatever custom you're in, that should be agreeable. So this woman you know, got convicted of this thing, and she's been put in some luxury prison where she can basically do as she pleases. She, you know, she just has to be here because there's no way they can let her free, but she's basically free in this luxury prison where she can do as she pleases. And Donald Trump, who of course we know is on the Epstein file. This woman, of course, is you know, is involved with Epstein, and Donald Trump, who we also know is very much involved in Epstein, is considering, or as he said, he is contemplating pardoning this woman and getting her out of prison. Now I wonder why that would be. Why would the president of the United States be considering pardoning a convicted child abuser who also happens to be on the Epstein files? I mean, I'm not going to spell it out for you, but I can put two and two together. It seems like this woman might know something that Donald Trump doesn't want to, you know, get out there. Or they're just generally just protecting their own, as predators do. Predators, you know, they all in high places, they're going to protect their own. Alright, hold on. Before I move forward, I'm going to quickly see if there's something I can get this. Hold on. Okay. Alright, I might have disconnected for a second, but hopefully the connection should be smoother. Y'all let me know if that had any effect on the video. I know the video on the live is a little bit choppy because I'm using like a phone device. I'm using hold on. I'm using my phone, which should be higher quality video, but it seems to have an impact on the smoothness. So y'all let me know if that made any difference. I've just switched a Wi-Fi connection. All right, but I mean, these people, I mean, good night. Like, even the things that have been released, something should be happening right now. And there are far too many people who their names have been redacted from the files. Far too many. Alright, so let me play this video that I want to, that just illustrates the point that I'm making. So let me show y'all this. And y'all let me know if you can hear the video also. Alright, so let me see. So alright, so let me play this video.
Here's something that you need to be aware of that nobody is talking about enough. Trump and his administration are breaking the law to protect the identity of pedophiles. The images that I'm about to show you are real screenshots of emails released in the most recent Epstein Files batch made public by the Department of Justice last week. This first email was sent to Jeffrey Epstein, and it reads, "New Brazilian just arrived, sexy, cute, and 9 years old." But if you'll notice, we don't know who sent that email. Why? Because the Trump administration redacted their name. Here's another one, this time
So he says like, you know, we don't know who sent this email. Talking about this 9-year-old Brazilian girl. This 9-year-old Brazilian girl that Epstein and his pals are doing, you know, unspeakable things to. The names have been redacted. So the Department of Justice is saying, okay, we're going to release these files. And I think even Trump, when he was, you know, campaigning to get in office, he says the first thing we're going to do is release these Epstein files because, you know, to show that I'm innocent and I'm this and I'm that. And he gets in office, and once again, it's empty promises. There's delays upon delays upon delays in getting these files. There's, even when we get these files, they're heavily redacted, meaning any useful information that we could use to find and implicate and prosecute these people has been redacted, has been blanked out. And there's no way for the public, anyone other than the DOJ who have these original files, there's no way for us to know who is involved. That's what you think they'd want to, be investigate and release. You'd think they'd want to let it be known who is involved so we can prosecute these people. That is not the case. That is absolutely not the case. They're going through and seeing, how can we hide this? I know there's some people where it's just impossible to not include their names. But how can maybe we can take it off, some of the worst things they did and do only the lighter stuff. Who can we just, not implicate at all? Who can we make sure gets scot-free from this whole situation? I mean, to blank out these emails which we could use to identify these people, and all we have is Epstein, because Epstein got caught. Of course, you can't get around that. You can't get away from that. Epstein got caught, but who can they save? Who can they allow to continue on doing these things and not face any justice? Because don't think just because Epstein's locked up, don't think any of these vile stuff is stopped. They're going to continue on, but they're going to now be even more secretive, even more careful, cautious. All right, let's play him with this video.
Epstein, and it reads, "New Brazilian just arrived, sexy, cute, and 9 years old." But if you'll notice, we don't know who sent that email. Why? Because the Trump administration redacted their name. Here's another one. This time it's Jeffrey Epstein sending somebody else an email where Epstein says, "Where are you? Are you okay? I love the torture video." Do we know who he sent that to? Do we know who gave Epstein this quote-unquote torture video? No, because the Trump administration redacted their name. Again. Or this email where somebody tells Epstein.
So again, now it's the email that Jeffrey sent to somebody else saying, let's get it, saying, let's run it back a little more. "How are you? Are you okay? I loved I don't know if I can say this word on TikTok. I love that video of you, doing that word to somebody, likely a child. We don't know. I guess it's unclear. But I mean, it's redacted. It's completely redacted. Who was involved? Who Jeffrey sent that email to? I mean, good night.
Video? No, because the Trump administration redacted their name. Again. Or this email where somebody tells Epstein, quote unquote, "Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty." We have no clue who had a quote unquote fun night with Epstein's littlest girl. Because, once again, the Trump administration redacted their name.
And these individuals are absolutely sick. I mean, just disgusting. And you think that the whole world would be, in an uproar. You think that the whole world would want to see people who would do and say these things about children, about babies. You think the whole world would want these people under the jail. But the people in power that have control over this information, I mean, it goes to show these are a wicked and vile people. I mean, good night. Let's play on. Let's finish this video.
This is a mockery of law and order, eroding the moral fabric of our nation at the expense of survivors of all ages all across the world. In short, if you're a Trump voter watching this video, I'd highly suggest you rethink your support of MAGA, because protecting and concealing the identity of predators only makes America great again for predators.
So if you're an individual that happens to support, Donald Trump and the likes of MAGA and these far right people, these if you could even call them people, these demons, the devil that the Bible speaks of, then it's recommended to reconsider. But it's not likely. It's not likely. There's a scripture I want to get that just shows these are the people that the righteous people in the I.S.U.P.K, these righteous brothers and sisters, these are the people that set laws in place to oppress us. These are the people that set ICE on nurses and and primary school teachers and parents and separate children from their families. These are the people that are in control of America, that are in control of Britain, that are in control of the laws that we have to abide by, that everyone tells us to just comply. Just comply and nothing's going to happen to you. We've been complying for so long. We've been complying and we've been Christian for so long. But these people, I mean, the Bible says, can a leopard change its spots? Like, there is no change in these people. There's absolutely no change in them. The scripture I want to get, hold on. It's in Ephesians chapter 6 and verse, let me get the verse on. It's around verse 12. Hold on. Let me share this for you. Boom. Alright, so this scripture, hold on, I don't want to click that. Scripture is in the book of Ephesians chapter 6, and we're going to read from around verse, hold on. What verse is we at? Verse 10. No, matter of fact, we'll read from verse 12. We'll get right to the point. All right, verse 12. Or verse 11. Let's do 11. 11 says, put on the whole armor of God, that ye may able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Right? We in the I.S.U.P.K, we as blacks, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, we have to be fully right in these scriptures. We have to be fully right in keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments so that the Most High can be with us. That is the armor of God. The armor of God is the higher power. There is a higher power than the white man. There's a higher power than America. I know you think, he has all the nukes in the world and the strongest carnal military, on the earth right now, but there is a stronger power than that man. There is a power that can cause a natural disaster and wipe out everything this man has got. Just wipe out a whole fleet in a storm. Wipe out a whole host of tanks in an earthquake. There is a power that is stronger than the devil. And that is the Most High God. And in order to get the Most High's protection, we as blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, we need to keep his law, statutes, and commandments. It says, put on the whole armor of God, putting on the Most High's protection. And that ain't saying Hail Mary 3 times and being a good Christian and turning the other cheek and just being soft. That ain't that. I mean, what is armor for? Armor is for war. The Bible says the Lord is a man of war. It's ain't about being no Christian singing "Oh Happy Days" and banging a tambourine and rolling on the floor like a damn fool. This is about being ready for war. And put on the armor of God that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And what are the wiles of the devil? The wiles of the devil are him setting these ICE agents on you. The wiles of the devil is stop and frisk. The wiles of the devil is stop and search and strip searching and putting drugs and guns in your neighborhoods. That's the wiles of the devil. It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Hold on. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And if you read some of these things that is in these Epstein files, with all these people that have these positions of power, these are the powers. These are the rulers of the darkness of this world. All those things you find in those Epstein files. I seen a video where it was saying Donald Trump. So Donald Trump would host these parties or meetings or whatever that he'd call calendar girls. And Epstein would bring him some little girls. And I can't even recall it. I can't recount this story on TikTok. I can't. But he would assault the. I'm trying to think if there's a way I can tell this story TikTok friendly. All I can say is look up. You might be able to find it now. I don't know if they've redacted it already. If they took that one back, if they put that one back in the vault and said, "Oops, one slipped out the cracks." But look up Donald Trump calendar girls, and read about what he did to these little girls in the presence of. And they listed a couple names of people who were present: Elon Musk, Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, Eric Trump. So Donald Trump, his children, Elon Musk, and the same woman I was talking about earlier, I forget her name. I think it's like Madriella or something like that. Some vile woman. That woman was present. The same woman that Donald Trump is, conveniently thinking or considering pardoning. Which lets you know the whole scope of this thing. I mean, good night. This is the spiritual wickedness in high places. And these are the people who set the rules, who sick ICE agents on, what they say is the worst of the worst. We're doing this because these people are the worst of the worst. They're bad hombres. Meanwhile, Latino people are some of the kindest people in the earth. Like, Mexicans are the most hard-working people in the earth. That's why your people exploit them for cheap labor. That's why you'll have them as nannies to look after your children. Like, why would you put the worst of the worst, people, apparently, and have them looking after your children? You know it's not true. But that's who you're going for. And in order to make it palatable for, everybody, even, people who, claim to be more, progressive, they claim to care and have a conscience, even though they're the same oppressor, the same devil. But to make it palatable for everybody, they're the worst of the worst, the criminals. They're bringing narcotics into America and hurting people. You know what I'm saying? The same excuse they had for invading Venezuela illegally, breaking international law. Well, these people are bringing in drugs, cocaine, fentanyl, whatever thing they have to say. These people are bad hombres. And so let's go in, invade the country, unalive people, and kidnap their leader. And we're gonna make sure the country is good. We're gonna fix up the country's oil infrastructure. Like, just outright telling you. Before, they used to hide it. But this devil right here, like Donald Trump, this devil is, he is just being what he is, without no filter. He'll like try and hide things. Like, he does try, but he is a bubbling. He's a buffoon. Like, he can't successfully hide it. But he just in your face with it. I mean, good night. He just right up in your face with it. Like, he'll lie, but it's a blatant lie. The same way you're saying, I knew Jeffrey, but we was in passing, or I barely knew the guy. Meanwhile, you had a relationship with this guy for like 15 years. There's videos, pictures of y'all together. There's a video where Donald Trump said, he's a great guy. He has a great taste in women. He likes them young, just like I do. Something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing. I mean, these are the rulers of darkness. All right, it says, hold on. Yeah, and then it goes into the armor of God, so on and so forth. But that's the main part I wanted of that. Like, these are what you're seeing before you is biblical prophecy. The Bible says that the day will not come until the son of perdition is revealed, the man of sin. And that man of sin is, your so-called Europeans. That man of sin is Great Britain. That man of sin is America, which comes from Great Britain. As we say in the I.S.U.P.K, my shirt says it, the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Matter of fact, make sure y'all can read that correctly. Let me flip my camera real quick. Let me flip my camera so y'all can read the writing properly. The oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Get this situation situated. All right, but while we do that as well, I want to share another video. Right now, this is let me see. This is some TV broadcasting channel, some news channel, and they're talking about the things that it's been revealed that Trump has done, and this party, I believe it's the Reform Party or something along those lines. They still support Donald Trump, and they still support people who are known to do wicked things. But yet, whenever it's a non-European person, whenever it's what they would call an immigrant, because it's funny how, for say if there's a British person in another country, they don't call them immigrants, they call them expats. Whenever it's a European person, they don't call you an immigrant. Like whenever they say immigrants are the problem and this, that, and the third, that's not the immigrant they're talking about. They're talking about a very specific, anybody who's non-European. That's who they're talking about. Anybody who's not them. Right? But let me share this video. Hold on. All right, it doesn't seem like I can flip my camera on the fly while it's on. But that's you get the point. All right, you get the point. All right, so let's play this video real quick. And of course, as we going through it, if y'all have any comments on what we showing you right today, by all means put your comments in the comment section. I want to see what y'all think. All right. So let me see. Oh, hold on. Connect my camera again. Why is it? Hold on, it just did connect to my camera. I don't know why it would do that. Hold on a second. I think my audio should still be coming through on the thing. Alright, my camera. Let's get this reconnected. Alright, so I can't even see is my camera. Yeah, camera's back on. Okay, and let me flip it. Alright, so yeah, we go. I'm sure that's the right way now. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply. Okay. What else was I gonna do? I was gonna share the video, right? So let's do this. Okay. Alright, so let's share this video.
Stuff that is alleged about Trump, stuff that is alleged about Trump is horrific, and we can't even say it on the air. But I don't know.
But if there's truth in it, that's a different.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I'm really sure.
And she says, and this woman says, so this is a woman who clearly, is in support of Trump. If it's true, we know it's true. We know it's absolutely true. Matter of fact, this isn't the first time. And there's clips upon clips upon clips of Donald Trump saying very, very questionable things. I mean, recently I shared one. I shared a couple things Donald Trump said that was very, very, forget questionable. That was, this man should be in jail already. He's being convicted of 34 felons already, but I guess those were business-related crimes. When it comes to all the, the child abuse, I guess he hasn't been caught out for that yet. He hasn't been proven in the court of law, even though we have the Epstein files that he's in. But, he hasn't been convicted of anything yet, because nothing is going to happen to him. Nothing.
Yeah, but I don't know.
But if there's truth in it, that.
And when I tell you, as he's saying the things that Donald Trump is being found guilty of, he can't even say on the air. I wish I could tell y'all these stories I've seen. I'm sure as you scrolling through Instagram or Facebook or wherever, you might be seeing them. You might be seeing these videos, these things being released. I wish I could could really show you, but I don't think TikTok will allow me to before I get this whole page just shut down. If I get this whole page shut down. Matter of fact, while I'm talking about the page, if you haven't followed I.S.U.P.K United Kingdom, make sure you follow the page. All right, make sure you follow the page. You get the live. This live I do every Sunday. At 2 p.m. UK time. We posting content on the page all the time. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you follow the I.S.U.P.K United Kingdom on TikTok, on all our other social medias. Just look us up. Alright? But these things, like I can't even explain these stories in real detail.
Stuff that is alleged about Trump is horrific, and we can't even say it on the air. But I don't know.
But if there's truth in it, that's a different.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I'm really struggling here. Sorry, I'm really struggling here. I'm going to try and stay calm with this, okay? Because you and your party are very vocal when it comes to protecting women and girls. And here we are faced with the most cruel, brutal, elite, unpunished grooming gang, paedophile ring in the world. And it is remarkable how quiet you all are.
Ain't that the truth? Like, isn't it these all these far right people and the far right people in the UK, in America, wherever, all y'all white supremacists is what you are, right? Forget about the far right. It's just a more cushier name for white supremacists. All you guys, when you talk about wanting to kick the immigrants out and kick basically anybody who's non-European, you love to bring up this topic of, they're a danger to women and children. Look at them. They're assaulting women. They have all like these Muslim grooming gangs, so on and so forth, which is diabolical. And anybody involved in these Muslim grooming gangs should be thrown under the jail. Matter of fact, forget jail. We know what would happen to these people in biblical times. That's what should happen. But we don't control the law. So with whatever, this nation's law is, they should be subject to that law. But whenever it comes to Europeans committing these crimes, all these, far right activists is awful quiet. Just awful quiet. Like, you don't hear a peep. I haven't heard a single. Where's Tommy Robinson talking about how what Trump is doing is what Trump has been alleged of? We'll use that. What Trump has been alleged of is disgusting. Where's Tommy Robinson? Where's Neil Farage? Is that his name? Neil Farage? Nigel. That old devil. Nigel Farage. Where's Nigel Farage talking about, these vile things that are coming out now? Like where's this woman? What's her name? It showed at the beginning. Where is it? Andrea Jenkins, who's a member of Reform. So that's Nigel Farage's thing. Where is her outrage, since they care so much about women and children being, assaulted, attacked, in danger, having these disturbing things committed against them? Where's the outcry? Where's the outrage? The same thing where, like everybody's so sympathetic towards, like the I don't even think I can say this word. Everyone's so sympathetic to the crime that happened against can I say that word? Against the so-called Jewish people, right? The people who occupy Israel right now. Those people. Everyone was so sympathetic, and we can show empathy to what happened to them, how they were put in these concentration camps, how they suffered so much. But when it comes to Latinos, when it comes to our children being put in cages, separated from their families, the same thing you saw happened to them people, you're seeing it happen today, and it's radio silence. There's people who claim to care about children again. They're absolutely silent on these ICE raids. Absolutely silent. Whereas we in the I.S.U.P.K, we'll tell you, what happened in Germany so long ago was an absolute tragedy. But what's happening now, and what's been happening, slavery and so on and so forth, to blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, is also a tragedy, and nobody cares. Nobody cares to talk about it. No sweat. We in the I.S.U.P.K, we will care. We will care for our own. Why would we ever rely on the devil that the Bible speaks of to care about the crimes that he is committing? The Bible says, whose possessors slay them. Like the man that possesses blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. And you'll say, oh, well, we're not in chains. He don't possess us no more. Well, you know, where is has he ever given us back our culture, our history, our language, our land? There is a man in our land right now. He loves to yell these racist things and say, go back to your country. We can't go back to our country because there's a man in our country right now who claimed that it's his. And we have to live in Britain. We have to live in Jamaica. We have to live all over the Caribbean, which is just places where we were enslaved and colonized. It's just places where we were taken and enslaved at. That's not where we're from. We're not from America, but we have to live and stay in America amongst our oppressor. We are his possession. We can't go anywhere. Where will we go? What military, what might do we have to take back our land? We're just subject to this devil and his police and his ICE agents and any other vile thing or vile, you know, group he wants to send against us. And they slay us and hold themselves not guilty. That's what the Bible says. The Bible talks about the life that blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans live every day. Some of y'all Europeans are just getting a taste of it now. I seen ICE unalive a couple Europeans too, a couple Americans, and there's outcry and outrage, but it was silent when it was just us. When it's just us, y'all can somehow stomach it. Somehow, it's wrong, but yeah, what can you do? But when it's you now, that apparently there's something that can be done. Apparently some change needs to happen when it's y'all. I mean, good night. Let's play on in this video.
Stuff that is alleged about Trump is horrific, and we can't even say it on the air. But I don't know...
But if there's truth in it, that's a different...
Well, yeah, but I mean...
I'm really struggling here. Sorry, I'm really struggling here. I'm going to try and stay calm with this, okay? Because you and your party are very vocal when it comes to protecting women and girls.
Very vocal. When it comes to protecting women and girls from these damn immigrants, y'all are very vocal.
And here we are faced with the most cruel, brutal, elite, unpunished grooming gang, paedophile ring in the world. And it is remarkable how quiet you all are. It is remarkable. And also, I need to know, you are a defender of Trump. You praise him, your party, Farage, you align very closely. Do you...
And Nigel Farage and them, they align very closely with Trump. Well, that's interesting. It's very interesting that people who would align very closely with Donald J. Trump. It's fascinating. If I was an investigator, if I was in charge of the likes of the DOJ, I'd be checking all your hard drives. All your hard drives and hidden vaults need to be checked. Just a suggestion. That's what I would do, personally.
I think the viewers should know, given everything we know about Trump, there's in these files that we know of him to date, do you still support him?
Look, this, to me, it's not about Trump.
And just dodge that question like a good politician. Just a good political answer. Well, this isn't really about Trump. I asked you a direct question. After all this has been revealed, his name is in the files and he's doing unspeakable things to children. Women and children that you claim to care about, do you still support Trump? Does the Reform Party still align themselves with Trump?
To date, do you still support him?
Look, this, to me, it's not about Trump. This is about believing in due process.
No, but I mean, I think you do still support him, right? Because as you're saying, he's not guilty in your terms.
I believe in a due process.
Right.
And they believe in a due process, huh? They believe in due process and innocent until proven guilty. Until it's, anything to do with non-Europeans. If there's anything to do with these migrants and you get a sniff of a crime being committed by a non-white person, oh, they're guilty. They're absolutely guilty. But when it comes to your people and the people you support and the rulers of darkness and spiritual wickedness in high places, well, we believe in due process. We believe in, you know, getting all the evidence together and making sure it's concrete and you're innocent until proven guilty. So in your eyes, Donald Trump is innocent.
The process isn't happening because under him, there are still millions of files that haven't been released. I can't believe, in fact, I looked, there is no mention of you ever talking about women and girls unless it's through the lens of immigration. But
Fascinating. And so this woman's retorting, well, you talking about you care about due process. Well, there is no due process. There is no, I mean, as we watched in the earlier video, like, it is a mockery of law and order. There's so many files, hundreds of millions of files that have not been released, and anything that has been released is heavily redacted. Damn near to the point you catch a few words. So what due process are we talking about right now? This is absolutely in your face, hiding and concealing child predators. Hiding and concealing PDFs, unalivers. Like these people, there's a story where Donald Trump was auctioning little girls, selling them. There's stories where they are unaliving and consuming the flesh of infants. I mean, I don't know how much I can say on TikTok. Don't ban me, y'all. But, like, this thing is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And they're talking about due process. I mean, good night.
Due process.
Due process isn't happening because under him, there are still millions of files that haven't been released. I can't believe, in fact, I looked, there is no mention of you ever talking about women and girls unless it's through the lens of immigration. But here, when faced with this guy who's on your side, not a peep. Not a peep. He has been found all.
But what do you think he's done, though?
Forget what's in the files.
So
if you want to pretend,
Yes, it is.
And she's saying even forget what's in the files. But what's in the files is disgusting. But even forget that. There's a bunch of stories and accusations that have been done against Trump. Matter of fact, he had to settled like what, $5 million in damages to some woman that he abused. So we know he what's that? I forget the story. Where I don't know if it was a woman or if the woman was a child at the time, and it's only recently come out. But we know the type of person Donald Trump is. It's not, outside of character and a surprise that he's in these Epstein files. But you're talking about due process. You're talking about, making sure we have all the evidence. Good night.
Word means citizens do not get a word in edgeways.
Let me just answer.
No, Marina,
you've
wait
had
a
enough,
sec.
Marina.
And you've had enough. The person asking me this question about me supporting a PDF file, you've had enough, Marina. That's enough. I mean, okay, I guess you can just do that. I always knew oppressors are entitled as hell. But this just takes the cake. Well, I can't get a word in edgewise. She's asking a straight up question, and you skating right. You skating around like you're on ice. This ain't celebrity on ice. This is Jeremy Vine. That's what this is. This ain't celebrities on ice. Alright, ain't no skating around. Answer the question. And now you complaining about how you can't get a word in edgewise and this, that, and the third, and for this reason, she's going to do what?
Yes,
If you want to
Word means citizens do not get a word in edgeways.
Let me just answer.
Marina,
You've
wait
had
a
enough,
sec.
Marina.
All the stuff that we've known today, the civil
I'm going to
case.
don't.
if I do not get a chance to speak.
Of course, she's going to walk off if she doesn't get a chance to speak. She's going to walk off and again just completely avoid the question. But let's ask the question to anybody that, perhaps anybody is watching it. If you are a a far right, or let's say far right. If you are a supporter of the Reform Party, or supporter of MAGA, or supporter of Trump, or any of that, do you condemn these people in these files? Do you condemn Donald Trump? Do you condemn the Reform Party and Nigel Farage for not saying a damn thing about it, being aligned with Trump? Do you condemn all these, all your fellow supporters in the Reform Party and so on and so forth? What was the other party? It was there's the Reform Party, and then there's what? There's another one. It's like two of them, two main ones. Let me look it up. There's the Reform Party and the something Britain First. I think that's the one. Britain First. All those people in Britain First and Reform and all that love this just seem to love Donald Trump's policies and just love to because he's hard on crime. He's a real tough guy. He's a real tough guy when it comes to crime. Matter of fact, he called Mexicans and he called Latinos super predators. Right? That's something that Trump said, right? He called them super predators. Well, the Epstein files, and before the Epstein files come out, it seems as though the super predator, like if we're talking about a super predator, like we know, Hispanics can commit crimes, blacks can commit crimes, anybody, any nation is capable of committing crimes. But if we're talking about a super predator, it seems as though your best friend Epstein was a super predator. It seems as though that woman that you're considering pardoning is a super predator. It seems as though you yourself are the super predator, that you are, you're putting that stain or that label on Hispanics. You're putting that on them to have everybody look that way. But you, Donald Trump, you are the super predator. Donald Trump and anybody else involved in these files, Elon Musk, Donald Trump's children, everybody. Matter of fact, let me see. Let me just do a Google search. Who has been named? I mean, we know Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew is obviously in these files. He got done a long time ago for that. He was in these files and. A member of the royal family. There was a whole scandal that came out. He got packed in for that. But there's plenty more. Plenty more. Who has been named in the Epstein files so far? Let's get a list of these names of the real super predators. Let me see. Is there a list? Prominent individuals mentioned. Okay. All right. So in all these over 6 million pages of documents, images, and video. Matter of fact, let me share. Hold on, y'all. Let me share the screen again. A little Wikipedia page I want to do a little read on. All right, so the Epstein files are over 6 million pages of documents, images, and videos. Hold on. Detailing the criminal and non-criminal acts of American financier and convicted child assaulter Jeffrey Epstein and a social circle of public figures that included politicians, royalty, business executives, academics, and celebrities. No wrongdoing is established by merely appearing in the documents, and most people featured in the files have denied any wrongdoing in relation to Epstein's life and crimes. Of course they have. No individual has been charged with a crime connected to the revelations in the files. Of course they haven't. I mean, why would, even though you're in the files, noted to have committed all types of wrongdoing, nobody's been charged. Nobody's been charged at all. Even Prince Andrew, I mean, they cut off his royal ties. And I think he had to leave the home. He brought shame to the royal family in the UK, in England. But he still hasn't been charged criminally. He hasn't been imprisoned for the things he did. he hasn't faced any actual justice. He just, he's not part of the, not part of the same circles anymore, I suppose. And even still secretly, I mean, he's still their family. So who knows what, how they communicate and he just not publicly. Not publicly. Okay, so let's see who let's see some names who've been named. All right, you got Woody Allen. Okay, American filmmaker, actor. Woody Allen, is that the one that wrote that song, You Got a Friend in Me? Pause. But I think that's Woody Allen, right? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, we got Woody Allen. We got Annie Ambani, some Indian businessman. Okay. We got Eva Anderson in Dublin. Dan Ali, some Israeli-American author. Okay, Peter Attia, Jose Maria Aznar, Joska Bach, Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, I recognize that name. Do I? Well, who is he? American media executive, political strategist. Okay, former chief strategist of the White House. Interesting. Okay. Ehud Barak, Tom Barak, Sergey, Leon Black, Sultan Ahmed, whatever. Bunch of Indians, bunch of Americans, just diabolical. Richard Branson. I recognize that name. What did Richard Branson do? English business magnate. It says a 2013 email exchange between Branson and Epstein suggested a familiar relationship built, at least in part, around their interested in women. You mean girls, right? Okay. The Virgin Group. That's who Richard Branson is. He's the founder of the media company Virgin, right? Virgin Media. Interesting. That's a fascinating connection. Virgin Airlines, Virgin Media. The word Virgin, I always thought that it was a fascinating name for a media company. And we find he's in the Epstein files. Interesting. Okay. And so he wrote to Epstein, anytime you're in the area, would love to see you, as long as you bring your harem. Okay. A representative for Branson stated the email was sent after a group meeting where Epstein arrived with 3 adult women who he called his harem. Okay. Let's carry on. Flavio Briatore, Sergey Brin, John Bruckman, David Brooks, William Burns. Ain't that the guy's name in Simpsons? William Burns? Anyways, besides the point. Let's carry on. Noam Chomsky. I've heard this name. Who's Noam? What did he say? What did he do? Undated photograph. Okay, him and Jeff Epstein on the plane. This, that, and the third. Regular contact. Most valuable experience is what he said about Epstein. Okay. So on and so forth. Alright. Noam Chomsky. Deepak Chopra, George Church. Good night. Bill Clinton. What's Bill Clinton in these files about? What did Bill do? The old Bill. There was a former president travel on Epstein's plane, his personal plane, at least 16 times. Okay, says most of the correspondence pertain to travel and dining logistics. Okay. Emails were in a flirtatious or lewd in nature. In one message he said, "Eesh, good night." Pause. In one message, Maxwell. Who's Maxwell? Some emails between. Who is this Maxwell? Some random named person, Maxwell. I don't know who that is. Said that the recipient was hung like a horse. Pause. No Diddy. No Clinton, I should say. No Trump. Reference to Bellsberg stuff. I don't know what that is. Whatever. Anyway, just pause. Right? You got Bill Cosby. And we know Bill Cosby was charged for something. Of course, the black man gonna get charged. Diddy got charged. Diddy and Epstein have a relationship themselves. But Bill Cosby, they got charged with something. But Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, I believe, is Bill Clinton, is he still alive? I don't know. I don't care. Let's carry on. Bill Cosby, Epstein closely followed Cosby's assault case in 2015, blah, blah, blah. Epstein pursued purchasing Cosby's home. Interesting. Okay, who else? See these names. I'm waiting to see Donald Trump in here. I'm waiting. David Copperfield, American stage magician. Interesting. I wonder what he was making disappear. Magic tricks, blah, blah, blah. Asked her if she was aware the girls were getting paid to find other girls. Blah, 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 blah. Say hello, it's jackpot. Partially redacted email. Described Copperfield as Epstein's favorite cohort. My fault. You know, you never know with these people. Okay. Backstage passes frequently given as gifts. I mean, good night. See, when asked whether he and Copperfield have ever been together in the presence of minor girls under the age of 18, and whether he ever provided girls under 18 to David Copperfield for sexual purposes, he pled the fifth. Interesting. Okay. Alan Dershowitz, I believe he's a lawyer. Yep, American lawyer and professor. I've seen this name. This guy, I believe he was in the same room where Donald Trump was auctioning little girls. And let me see if I want to tell this part because it's important to the story. Like, auctioning is one thing. It's human trafficking, so on and so forth. There's a part of this story, of this calendar girl thingy. I again encourage you to look it up. But he would, let me see. Does this guy support Epstein? Hell no, I don't support Epstein. Maybe if you was here a bit earlier, you'd understand what we're talking about. I absolutely do not support Epstein, and I'm not saying they're innocent. These people, are all guilty, and more. All those people that are being redacted, their names taken out, we need those names. But we know that nothing is going to happen to these people because the people in charge of the investigation are also wicked people. Like, you're having devils investigate devils. What you should do, here's what you should do. All those, 300, motherfucking, should I say this? 300 million documents, images, and files. We'll go through it. It'll take some time. But you should send those files to the I.S.U.P.K and the Commanding General Yahanna. We can tell you exactly who's involved. Exactly what devils are involved in these vile things against children. That's what you should do. The story, I just don't think I can tell that story on TikTok, unfortunately. I wish I could. I don't think there's any way to reword it. Let me see. Let me get creative. Let me get metaphorical with it. It's noted in the files that Donald Trump would have these girls presented by Epstein. I don't think it notes the age of the girls, right? But he would have these girls and he would rate them on their tightness. That's what's in the files. He would rate them on their tightness. These are girls presented by Epstein, so whether these are likely underage girls, he would use his index finger and rate these girls on their tightness. That's about all I can say. And this happened, we call them calendar girls. I don't know if this was a monthly thing or whatever it was. He did this in the presence of Elon Musk, his children, and I believe this Dershowitz guy, I believe he was there also. I think he's named. So that's as in little detail as I can tell this story on TikTok. Alright, let's see who else we see. I don't want to spend too long on it. Sarah Ferguson, a British author, former member of the British royal family. Interesting. What did Sarah do and say? Duchess of York, the former wife of Prince Andrew, and the Duke of York, thanked Epstein for being the brother she always wished for. Interesting. So Prince Andrew got caught out doing something, and his ex-wife, Sarah, what was her name? Sarah Ferguson. Sarah Ferguson also called Epstein a brother, the brother she always wished for. Interesting. In exchange, Ferguson appeared to suggest that she and her daughters had met with Epstein and said, "I've never been touched by a friend's kindness more than your compliment to me in front of my girls." Interesting. And he was under house arrest when that email was sent. Okay. Let's see. Was there anything else? So Epstein gave Ferguson at least $15,000 to help pay off debts. And some reports have suggested he bankrolled her to a greater extent. Interesting. Okay. Bill Gates, Mr. Microsoft himself. What's in the files about old Bill? Not the other old Bill. Okay. It made lurid allegations about Gates. It's not clear whether Epstein was ever sent the email to Gates. Blah blah blah. A representative for Gates said the allegations were absurd and absolutely false. Okay. Emails alleged that Gates had tried to surreptitiously give medication for sexually transmitted diseases to his then wife. Okay. Alright. I guess that's all they didn't redact. And I guess this is the wife it's talking about. Alright, whatever. Where's Donald Trump? Matter of fact, I might do a control. Hey, Stephen Hawking. Good night. Stephen Hawking got up in there in that island. Ooh, Stephen Hawking. Documents included blah blah blah. A friend of blah 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 blah. To disapprove supposed allegations of Jeffrey, I don't know how you pronounce that name, that Hawking participated in underaged, this word, on the U.S. Virgin Islands where Epstein lived. He said he can issue a reward to prove if they can prove her allegations are false. Interesting. That's an interesting that's an interesting one. I'll give you a reward if you prove that these allegations are false. Interesting thing to say. Let's see. Hawking, who died in neither Jeffrey nor anyone else has ever publicly accused him of misconduct. According to okay, interesting. You got Steven in there. Jack Horner. I don't recognize that name. Oh well. Michael Jackson. Okay, and we know Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson got found. Was he ever charged? I think he was, right? Yeah, Michael Jackson. He was on the news talking about this thing. Michael Jackson. He got charged. He's in the files. I'm just noticing there seems to be a pattern. Like black people, when it comes to black people who might be involved in this freaky world, now they'll get hidden for a while, but you get thrown under the bus. But Donald Trump, not so much. Let's see, Jay-Z. Good night. In a room with Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, good night. Yeah, somebody check Jay-Z's hard drive. Check them all. Check all these people. Check them all. Don't cherry pick. Don't cherry pick and prosecute Bill Cosby and not Howard Lutnick. Don't cherry pick and prosecute. You got more. This is the person. Sorry. Let me finish my sentence. Don't cherry pick and prosecute Michael Jackson and not Donald Trump. All right. This is the person, Ghislaine Maxwell. This is the Maxwell person that I guess was referenced earlier. This is the person who was charged for child abuse. And Donald Trump is considering pardoning this woman. She is in the luxury prison right now. She is present in the room while Donald Trump is rating these calendar girls on their tightness. This is one of the people. Convicted child trafficker. Good night. The Epstein files contain accounts of her crimes by victims as well as details about court testimonies. Okay. Cool. This is her father, Robert Maxwell. Okay. Alright, I guess they redacted all the freaky stuff about him. You got You got Met Marit, Crown Princess of Norway. Okay, yeah, don't cherry pick and convict some black man and not convict the Princess of Norway. Let's see who else. Let me control F. I want to see if they wrote anything about old Donald. Let me find Donald Trump. There we go. Here we go. David Schoen. Whatever. Where's Trump? There we go. He got a good long section. Okay. Let's see what is currently, I suppose, according to Wikipedia. Let's see what's in these files relating to Donald J. Trump. Okay, New York Times identified more than 5,300 files containing over 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, Mar-a-Lago, and related terms in the January 2026 release. Many were news articles or publicly available materials and not included direct communication between him and Epstein. Okay, just on the third. Blah, 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 blah. The DOJ, email from the DOJ's files indicates that Epstein planned to call Trump regarding Virginia Giuffre, another person I think is in these files, or was that the person that he an advocate for survivors and sex trafficking. This might have been the person that Trump had to pay that $5 million to, right, because of some assault he did against her. Trump has claimed he parted ways earlier. Blah 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 blah. Okay, and getting notes is a good one, huh? It's down the third. Did not find credible information to marry. Okay. And yeah, they need more on this because there's stuff that was released in them files about Trump. Need to update this. Need some updating. Anyways, I could spend all day going through these files and Melania Trump, everybody related to Trump. I'm sure you find a couple Trumps in here, right? But, I don't want to spend all day. These people need to be prosecuted. These people absolutely need to be prosecuted. But we know that when it comes to these people in power, somehow, they never seem to face the music. They never seem to, go to jail the same way a black man would go to jail. They never seem to be convicted and publicly slandered like a black man would be convicted and publicly slandered. I mean, good night. So that's the episode. That's the episode. Let me check these comments, see if there's anything else on there. Yeah, absolutely not in support of that, Epstein and all those folks who need to be taken care of. To be taken to the shed out back. Shalom to Trooper Gabar Ya'ala, Ya'abashim Ya'ushabrakata. And the water for everybody that was watching the live, tuning in, make sure you was liking, follow the page if you're not followed already, repost, all that good stuff, I appreciate all your support. But with that is the show. Alright. Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Barakatam to all the brothers. Yahweh Shema Ilatan Bahashim Yahweh to all the sisters. Shalom.
I'm screaming more fire, give them more fire, more fire. I'm hoping he come with more fire, more fire.